Hey guys, Ed here with RecPro. Today we're going to be doing an exciting install video for RecPro's new awning frame assembly. It's going to be RP number AFRM and also RP-PAFRM for the powered version. We're going to be going over a few pre-installation tips here today, including going over the roller. Once that's all assembled, we're going to go over to the camper, we're going to put our arms up, attach the roller, attach the fabric, wire it all up, and we're going to have a nice new awning on our camper. It's going to be great. Fresh out, once you open the box to this awning assembly, you'll find 3 aluminum rollers in here. The way these are packed, there are small tubes within the longer end tubes. We'll show you over here in a second, but what we're going to do here is take the screws out and pull the center sections out, which connect them together. And it's probably just easier shown than talked about, so we'll get straight to this. There's a screw here over here on this inside. I'm going to take that all the way out. The inside of this tube comes out a bit. You'll notice there are 4 holes going all the way down. You don't want to pull it out all the way, but you're going to pull it out to the 3rd hole, which lines up these 2 holes in this piece here. We're going to grab our screw again and just set this in. I think there's going to be about 6 screws for each side that we're going to put through here today, for each length of this, and then the center tube will come through and connect it all to make it the full 15-foot length. So I've got both sides of the roller assembled now. It's just putting the middle piece in, so that's going to be labeled section B through section C on here. Pretty much the same process of just lining up the holes and putting screws in, tightening them down. So big side C to little side C, inserts in, all the way through to line up your screws and get it started. So now we've got short section B through the large pipe B here, same as before. Alright, so we're up here now on our next to the RV, and we're going to be making our first markings for installing this awning here. We're going to be putting it over where the original awning was here. There's the line where you can see where it used to be, and we've got our first line marked where the edge of this mounting plate is going to be. We're just going to make some marks here with our drill, because we do have to pre-drill this, unfortunately. Just going to start those holes so I know where I'm at. Got our holes drilled. So for our mounting plate, you've got a number of options. You can either seal the back side of the screws. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some butyl back here behind this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my screws here that I'm going to use. I'm going to get those started just a little bit, then I'm going to push them through the plate and push them all the way through. I'm just going to get these started, make sure they're going to go in properly. Back them out. It's going to make it a lot easier to get through that butyl. So we'll just push this into place here. We'll grab one of our screws. We'll go right through there. That should be able to push right through the butyl, find the hole nice and easily. We're going to do these one at a time just so the mounting plate doesn't get a little askew and not, remain perfectly horizontal, lined up how you want it to. There we go. Next up, we're gonna grab our right side arm and we're gonna slide this in under this bracket here. And once that's in place there, we can, after my assistant Zach's gonna be holding it, I'm gonna drop down there. I'm gonna mark where our holes are gonna be for the bottom bracket. We're gonna pre-drill those and then put the screws in just as we did with this top mounting plate here. As with the top holes here, we're going to go in just a little bit with our screws just to get them started. It makes it easier. And then for the left hole. Alright. So I got Zach holding this in place now. I'm going to fit some butyl in there just over the back holes. He's going to press it in place. And we're going to push through with our holes. Or with our screws, rather. So we're over here in the nice cool shade, and we're going to be prepping the back of our trim pieces here. So we've got some butyl tape, And we're going to take a small piece of this tacky stuff and we're going to put it on the back side of this trim where it goes flush with the RV. And we're just going to smush it in there behind the hole. This is just going to prevent any moisture from getting into the walls of your RV. Just grab a small tiny piece. You really don't need it too much, but we're just going to cover up all these holes on the back side. So now that we've got all these holes covered with butyl, we're going to take it back over to the camper and we're going to install it. Back at the camper now, we've got the butyl over all of our trim pieces here. You're going to line this up against the top. So we're lining this up against the top trim rail here. The far edge of this is going to line up with this mounting bracket here. So you're going to just really squeeze that in there and just try to get that in there as horizontal as possible. Push down the butyl a little bit to stick it. It's going to help it a lot when you're putting it up here. Now you don't have to hold it. Included, they use these self-tapping screws that we're going to use just to go through each of those butyl holes. And we're going to put this in place here. Get that in there nice and snug. You've got a couple more screws left to go. Alright, we just wrapped up installing the fabric trim rail here. The next step is to install this other side arm here, which is just a repeat of the first arm that we did. Shouldn't take too much longer and we'll have this thing up and going. So we just got our second arm put up onto the camper here. We mounted the top and bottom holes onto that one. The next thing we're going to do is to put the fabric onto the roller. So we're going to unbox our awning fabric, and then my assistant Zach's going to help me slide the fabric onto the roller. So once your fabric's unrolled, there's going to be, you can just see that there'll be plastic cords going through both sides of it. There's going to be a side that has one cord and a side with two cords. The side that has the one cord, that's going to go up into the camper, and that's what actually mounts it onto the side of the RV, where the side with the two plastic cords running through it is the part that slides into the roller there. So what we found easy was we unrolled our fabric. We slid both cords into the one open side, which on our side was marked left. Once those beads slide in there, you'll be able to notice and just feel right when the fabric catches into that groove there. And once that happens, you should be able to pull it straight across. It really helps to keep it as parallel as possible. If the other side is pulled up too far or out of alignment, it might be a little tough. And just be careful about pulling it across the ground. You know, you might put little holes inside your awning, so do it on some kind of a soft surface like grass. You don't want to do this on asphalt or anything of that sort. So with the help of my assistant Zach and our lovely cameraman Jason, we were able to get the bead inserted into the top rail as well as into the roller, and it's ready to be connected to the arm assemblies here. It's going to connect up here in the arms with these simple nuts and bolts here, just right up through the top. It's going to go onto both sides, and the way that this works is it can actually hinge down, so you might actually not need two people to install this section of it. So the way this attaches up to the arm is with these nuts and bolts here, so just right through the hole with a washer on each side. So it's going to be bolt, washer, washer, nut. Screws in right through that, up at the arm assembly. So we just got the awning roller put up, and we've allowed it to extend all the way out. We've used the manual crank for that. Now we just got a few more holes to drill in here to mount these arms. And just the same as before, drilling with our drill bit and then going in with the bolt afterwards. So like before, I'm still prepping each of my holes here with a little piece of butyl just to seal that off and not get any leaks internally in there. Bolts as before, straight in. Another piece of butyl over the hole there, same as before. Now that's the arms mounted. Alright, so now that the arms are assembled up here, we've got the whole awnings kind of all the way extended out. What we have to do now is wire the roller and motor assembly to the RV. And the way that we got to do that here is there are these black plastic covers that go over the wires at both connection points, being at the arms and up at the roller. There's an end that twists off, these pull off, and they reveal the wire underneath here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to strip down these wires a little bit just so I can expose them. We're going to take a wire stripper to them later. And we're going to strip those down and use some butt connectors to attach it to the wiring in the RV. So because the longer wires are coming out of the RV wall right now, I'm actually just going to take this block here, the protector sleeve, and I'm just going to pull these through and get that started in there. So you're going to get both wires to go through there, through the other end. And once you have them out through the other end, you can take one of these caps and tighten it. And that'll keep any of the wire slack from getting pulled away there. It's kind of snug in place now. Use your wire strippers to strip down the red and blue wires that are part of the arm assembly. You just want to get probably ½ an inch maybe of that wiring exposed. Be a little tough. There we go. So now we've got our butt connectors here. These butt connectors. I'm going to slide one of the wires in all the way, getting that into that center point of that connector there. And then we're going to grab our wire crimpers. And using the tip of the wire crimper up here, you put the connector in there and you just crimp down, and that holds the wires snug inside of the connector that joins them together there. So we're going to connect our negative wires here to our red wire here on this awning arm harness. So get that into the butt connector really good. You may have to, twist your wire a little bit just to make it, just to neaten it up and fit it inside of that connector nice. And then once you've got it crimped, just give it a light tug just to make sure you've got a good connection on that one. We're going to come back to these later and hit them with some heat and let that plastic shrink down around them. It'll create a nice watertight connection on these. So the wiring on the awning roller here was actually a little bit thinner than the existing wiring we had coming out of our RV. So what I did here is I just folded this over just so it'll fit a little more snug inside of the butt connector here. Excellent. So this is now we're at the connection from the motor, which is the long wire, to the short wire in here into the arm assembly. And we're going to wire this up pretty much the same way we did going to the RV, so red to red, blue to blue. Makes it a bit easier. Slice down some of this wire here. Should split that open. Be able to access the red and blue wires a little bit more easily. So we've got our exposed red and blue wires here. Grab the wire from the motor. We're going to do the same thing with the butt connectors that we just did. Hold that tight. We're going to crimp that down. Give that a gentle tug. That's in there nice and snug now. Repeat for the same for the other side, that same red wire. Hold that in place nice and well. Crimp over the center of it. Give it a nice quick tug just to check. Good to go. Same thing on the blue wire. Good to go. So now that we have our awning assembly wired up to the RV, we can move on to installing the LED light kit. Clean and prep the surface of the RV where you intend to lay the channel. I used a rag and some citrus degreaser. Carefully peel the backing from the adhesive on the channel section. Press the channel into place end to end until you reach your desired length. I had to cut my last piece down a channel to fit. Once the channel is fully installed, unroll the LED strip light and press it into place. It will fit snugly into the channel. Once you've reached the end of the channel, trim off the excess light strip at one of the indicated points on the light strip. It will look like a pair of scissors. Lastly, connect the LED light strip to the wires running from your awning light switch. The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to set the minimum and maximum positions on the awning motor. To do this, we're going to use the included green adjustment tool. Now this tool is pretty cool. It helps illuminate the hole to help you see the adjustment bolt. It's translucent green. It just really helps light up everything in there. So basically what this is going to do, this process ensures that the motor stops at the maximum extension as well as the motor stops when the awning is at the maximum closed position. You know, so whenever you're closing it up to go travel, you know, it's going to want to be snug firmly up against the RV. So now using the green tool here, we're going to get up into the hole here. We're going to find the bolt and we're just going to gently adjust that clockwise. So what this is going to do is, because the awning is currently limited out to the position where it's at right now, when the switch is being held, as I turn this bolt in here, it's just going to keep extending out a little bit by little bit by little bit. So it stops there. I'm going to keep turning. Still going. And basically your maximum position is really just going to be until your flap's hanging vertically down here. So a little bit more, a little too much. We'll bring it back a little bit. There's a little bit of trial and error involved here. Right about there is good. So we're going to hold that max button again and just see where it stops at. Alright, we're good then. So now that we've got it calibrated to where the maximum position is on the extension on this, we're going to do just the same except with the retraction and closing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to close it just about all the way, and then we're going to adjust one of the bolts in order to push that minimum just up enough so it doesn't close onto the RV. For the closed adjustment, we turn the left bolt quite considerably until the awning would not fully retract with the switch held down. Adjust the left bolt clockwise until the awning closes completely. Alright, so now we're going to get up in here, we're going to find that bolt hole for the minimum close adjustment in here. Like I said, the tool helps you out quite a little bit there. So now we're going to turn this clockwise, and that's going to increase the amount that it can go into the left here. So the switch is being held down inside. You see as I turn this, it just ever so slightly goes in. So you're just going to keep turning it until it closes all the way in. It's snug. A little bit more. That's it. If you're using this awning as part of a new install, we have to tell you a little bit about the switch that's included. On this new switch here, the positions for on and off are both toggleable. So you can just hold it open, it will retract all the way open, and then the motor is going to stop when it hits the maximum extend position. The same goes for the retraction or the close button. You just hold it down, it's going to close, and the motor's going to stop whenever it reaches its minimum. The switch, while also in the open position, will also make sure that the LED lights are turned on. The middle position is off, will turn the LED lights off. If you are just replacing your old awning, your old switch will probably work, however you will have to hold the switch down in order to extend and retract it. The motor will still operate as normal, stopping at the maximum and minimum open and close positions. So that's going to wrap up the installation for the RecPro RV awning frame assembly. For more information, click the links below. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, when you're rolling down the road, roll with RecPro.